This is the tale of one of the most challenging nights of my long career.
Sans, you won't get all those sacks down the chimney in one go.
Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to Paws On Animation and our podcast.
And today we're covering the new Netflix holiday movie, That Christmas.
Now this fun film is based on a series of books by the same name, showing the lives of different kids in the town of Wellington on the sea in the days leading to Christmas. Only things are anything but normal during that time. But
yeah. Before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and continue with the future podcast, World of Paws videos.
Yes, thank you for joining us today. Subscribing, sharing our videos, and so much more. We appreciate you so much.
Yes.
These books were written by Richard Curtis, if you guys are familiar with him. The Christmas and Other Stories.
Yes.
The name of the book.
And apparently, he also got to partially write and direct this movie too. So he got to be in charge of his own adaptation, which was actually a good thing.
True. And with music by John Powell. This runs actually 92 minutes. It was longer than we expected it to be.
Right.
It originally was released in London in October of this year and then released on Netflix December 4th.
Right.
So,
yeah, this is one that some people have been looking forward to. It wasn't a huge excitement, but they were just like, okay, let's see how this goes. Because Netflix has at least had one good animated movie for Christmas each year. You had Klaus, you had Robin, you had the Shaun the Sheep special. You've been having at least one good one each year.
right.
And that Christmas was a little different from those when you saw the trailer. And the trailer actually advertised something different than what the movie had. And the biggest part is the inclusion of Santa Claus.
Now, Locksmith Animation and Netflix described the plot as That Christmas follows a series of entwined tales about love and loneliness, family and friends, and Santa Claus making a big mistake, not to mention an enormous number of turkeys.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, when we started, what I liked about it, I think about the first 20 to 25 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
it was like a slice of life.
Yes.
Animated special. And it was fun and just seemed really normal.
Mm-hmm.
And then Santa appears.
Yes. And the way that the trailer had portrayed Santa coming in, it was that he was accidentally stuck there. Because if they all had problems around that time, Santa was in sort of a rush and Fry was trying to finish the presents. And the trailer made it look like he was stuck there because he was such a rush and he was going to be stuck in one of the houses, and that was going to be one of the adventures. However, and this is a minor spoiler, when you watch the film, Santa actually only appears for that one time in the story, and then not again until the end of the movie. Meaning that he just delivers the presents, he has mishaps like his National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and then he's gone. And the rest of it just remains a pretty slice of life too,
Mm-hmm.
which was again very different from what the trailer advertised.
True. Now it has a diverse cast,
Mm-hmm.
and it seems really fun when you're watching it. At first, the turkeys are a hilarious part. We didn't expect that.
Yes, definitely. Makes me think free birds.
And for most of the movie, you have an older teen who's looking over the other kids along with her sister.
Mm-hmm.
And in that sense, with the animation, what was going on, it kind of reminded me of Miraculous in the early
In
seasons.
a way, yeah.
With Marionette's friend.
Yes,
What's her name?
with oh yeah, that was her name.
Yeah, it reminded me of that when they had a couple of episodes where she was babysitting her younger brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
And Marionette came over. It
Yes.
had that same vibe and feel. This is before it got screwed up by Disney.
Oh.
But it works.
Yeah. And there's another kid in here that they end up focusing on, a teenage boy. And what was funny when we were watching him get the stuff ready for the mom who had to rush off to work and everything where she woke up, we noticed, both of us noticed that he seemed an awful awfully similar to Jim from Troll Hunters.
Yes.
Like, the entire scene seemed to be almost an homage to the first episode and that scene from Troll Hunters.
It did. It was so funny because you said, he reminds me of that character I'm going to tell you, and I said,
Yes.
So, yes, he absolutely does because he hadn't even mentioned the name to each other. But it is a fun watch. I think 92 minutes was a little long. I think the stories probably could have been told in a shorter period of time. They said it's stories, but it plays like it's one 92-minute movie.
It does. And maybe, they said it was a trilogy of books, so maybe they were trying to make all 3 books at one time, going on concurrently rather than having them be one day at a time or something, trying to make it like one big event. So if that's at least possible, that's what they tried to do. So you do know there won't be a sequel to this movie. It's just going to be one and done.
Now, one thing about the characters is, for the adults, they all have just Mr. and Mrs. in front of their name, and then the younger ones have 2 names, but they really don't make a point for you to remember them. I thought that was really odd, is that they didn't have memorable names, and it didn't make the characters where you remember the names as much as you remember how they look in the design and what they did.
That's
Which
true.
I thought was really odd.
And the similar one that did that was the Polar Express. Regardless if people love it or hate it, one thing that stood out after you finished was that, aside from maybe one kid, you didn't get any of their names. And even in the credits, they tell you hero boy, hero girl, smart aleck, conductor. No one had a name, but the story was so engaging, it almost didn't matter. So I think that Christmas almost pulled it off, but because it wasn't a super fantastical film, it didn't hit that completely. Because you really were invested in what went on with these kids' lives, because they acted like they were just regular kids. They weren't all like the stereotypes we see, or acting like the ones who are addicted to the phones and everything. They acted like the kids you used to watch on the older shows, or maybe kids you grew up with. And maybe they relied on that familiarity more than the names of the characters to, repeat them so much that you know them.
True. The animation looks really good.
Yes.
As we mentioned, it's a diverse cast. The kids are cute. All the kids are cute. And the colors are vibrant. It's fun to look at. And when you watch a lot of things now, you don't have that vibrancy in the colors.
Right.
And warmth at the same time. With this, the coloring is really good. And
Yes.
it makes it pleasant to watch.
Yes.
The characters, as we mentioned, you don't really remember their names, but you remember what they do and what's happened. And we don't want to tell you a lot about that, because if you think some of those stories are intricate in liking the special itself.
Right.
But I can say that I do like that it's wholesome.
Yes.
There was not one curse word or any.
No innuendos.
Yes,
no
that's what I was
vulgar-
like, no, but yes, no innuendos. And the kids seemed to really be pleasant, and there was no big giant bully.
That's true. No bully and no mean girl. You hear about one girl getting teased and rightfully got the karma right back. But yeah, they did not make that trope in here, which I think was probably a really great thing. And the kids all end up being developed by the end of the story. Even the adults all end up developed by the end of the story, and they learn something from their experiences. And another thing you do like is the adults. There weren't really no bad adults either. They all were pretty normal. Even the teacher, she was a little grouchy, but she wasn't mean, cantankerous, and she actually did enjoy hanging out with the kids. Right. And the parents, when they went to the party, usually if they had a movie or show like that here, they would want to stay out as long as possible, get a break from the kids and everything. But what was interesting is that the first thing they thought of, he's like, okay, the storm's coming up. maybe we should go back home. They didn't try to make excuses to stay out. They didn't have anything happen where it felt like they were trying to get away from their kids. They just kind of wanted to get back home to them because they genuinely missed them. And you don't even see that in stories and movies like that anymore. They just want to get away. So it was really refreshing that the kids love the parents love the kids. Like you said, no bully, no mean girl, no mean adult. It was just a very pleasant film.
Very true. Now, we normally give a shout out to the cast. We'll do that here, but we can tell you the only voices that we are familiar with. Brian Cox, who is the bad guy in the Wolverine movies. Also, you recognize Reese Darby.
Yes, from Karan the Gorgeous Man.
But we're not familiar with any of the others, but we'll quickly go over them. Fiona Shaw, I'm sorry. She's a very famous British actress. She played Miss Trapper. Brian Cox was Santa Claus. Reese Darby was Mr. McNutt. That's his name. We had Jodie Whittaker. Bill Nighy.
Yes.
Another one. As Lighthouse Bill. Lolly Adderfolby. Alex McQueen. Catherine Parkinson. Sindhu V. India Brown. Sassy Hayhurst. Sienna Sayre.
Oh.
Jack Wisniewski. Rosie Cavaliero. Paul K. Gus Kahn, Andy Nyman, Kuhu Agarwal, Bronte Smith, and they were Nisha Muji and Eve McNutt.
Okay.
Freddie Spry, Ava Talbot, Deborah Finley, and Alicia Davies.
Okay.
And they also had Jordan North and Dermot O'Leary. They say they were Mr. Hack and Mr. Chop in cameo appearances. So they must be familiar with them.
Yes. Yeah, I guess they're big star cameos there too.
Yeah, but we really didn't know many people that appeared in this movie.
Which is a rarity, yeah.
Very true, especially to be done on this scale. And you also mentioned that it was done by the same studio that did Ron's Gone Wrong.
Right.
Locksmith, which we did like and review.
Right.
Check it out if you haven't seen it.
Right. And right now, the studio seems to be doing those types of family films that really did stay family films. Regardless of who distributed them, both of them so far have had that same feeling for family and togetherness and just being a really fun and pleasant movie.
And FYI, fun fact, Jodie Whittaker is the 13th Doctor in the Doctor Who series.
No way. Okay.
So she was a big deal as well.
Right.
But we would say if you haven't seen it, we definitely say give it a watch if you're looking for something new. Besides your regular annual holiday viewing, this is something new you can add. We don't know if it's going to become a favorite.
We don't know yet.
You would watch after this, but it is great for a change of pace and having something clean, wholesome, fun, and good to look at. And that actually will bring you joy watching it.
Right.
So if you've seen That Christmas, let us know in the comments. Or if you've even read the books, we'd like to know about that as well. Did you like it? Will it become one of your favorites? Or was it just something you watched to pass the time? If you haven't seen it, it's available as far as we know exclusively on Netflix. Check it out. Come back and tell us what you think.
And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates and reviews for your anime series and make sure to listen to all things animation.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for joining us this holiday season, taking time out to spend with us. We appreciate you.
Yes.
And as always,
You are special. Thanks so much for watching Rascal Entertainment.
I'm Entertainment.
Have a toontastic day.
Peace.